partner for a business. All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to build a custom AI agent right from scratch. And look, we're not just talking about some generic chatbot. We're talking about creating a perfect memory, a strategic partner for a business, an AI second brain that literally captures everything and turns it into real, actionable insights that actually drive growth.
This quote right here, it really just nails the whole concept. The goal isn't to build another simple tool that just answers questions. No, it's to engineer a fundamental upgrade to our own capabilities, a true synthesis of a person and a machine, designed to optimize performance like never before.
So let's start with this question, right? I mean, what would it actually mean for your team if no key insight from a client call was ever forgotten? What if every single email draft was written with the combined wisdom of sales legends like Zig Ziglar and Neil Rackham? Well, that's the problem we're setting out to solve.
Okay, so every journey has to start with a vision. Our goal here is to create a totally new kind of professional, one who's augmented by a custom-built digital nervous system that captures, analyzes, and synthesizes their entire professional life.
This is who we're designing for. We're calling them the Augmented Performance Architect. And look, they're moving way beyond just intuition and gut feelings. Instead, they're operating more like a high-tech consultant for an individual using hard data to engineer success.
And this whole vision is built on a pretty clear philosophy. The idea is that success isn't just luck, It's a performance that can be engineered. Every email you send, every call you make, it all becomes a data point. Every single insight gets captured, and every action is informed by a verified knowledge base. Nothing gets left to chance.
So, that's the big vision, an augmented professional powered by a digital nervous system. But how do you actually build this digital brain? Well, the architecture we're going to use is called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. It's basically the blueprint for connecting all that raw data to intelligent action.
And the way it flows is actually beautiful in its logic. As you can see, it all starts with data just flooding in from everywhere. Meeting transcripts from Fireflies, emails from Gmail, you name it. Then, an orchestrator, something like Make.com, acts as the traffic cop, grabbing it and routing it. Next, a powerful AI model like Gemini queries your own private library of knowledge. And finally, boom, it takes action, drafting that email or updating the CRM for you.
So here's the million-dollar question. How do we turn a raw meeting transcript, or say 100 books, into a searchable, intelligent knowledge base? Well, let's pop the hood and look at the engine that actually powers this brain.
Now, you might see a wall of Python code like this and think, whoa, okay, I'm out. But hang on, don't worry about the code itself. The underlying concept is actually super straightforward, and that's the part that really matters. The secret sauce here is a process called vector embedding. The best way to think of it is like a universal translator for ideas. It takes words, sentences, whole paragraphs, and converts them into a series of numbers, or vectors. This is what allows the AI to understand the meaning and the context behind the words, not just the words themselves. So you could search for the idea of customer happiness, and it'll find relevant stuff even if those exact words never appear.
And this refinery process is how it gets done. First, you just load the raw text. Think of it like crude oil. Then, you chunk it, breaking it into smaller, manageable pieces so you don't lose context. Next, you embed each of those chunks into those numerical vectors we talked about. This is like refining it into high-octane fuel for the AI. Finally, you save it. And just like that, your pile of random documents is now a structured, intelligent database. Okay, so we've got this incredible engine that can turn any text into a smart, searchable knowledge base. It sounds amazing in theory, right? A total game changer. But what happens when this sophisticated system runs headfirst into the messy, complicated reality of an actual business, say a car dealership? Well, the objections come fast. And you know what? They're completely valid. Their current software is a total black box. It doesn't connect to anything. They're terrified, and rightfully so, that the AI could hallucinate and make a legally binding promise they can't actually honor. And let's be real, the sales team isn't going to sit there and debug code while a customer is on the lot waiting.
So why bother solving all these tough problems? Well, this number is why. That's the potential extra profit a dealership could make every single month just by improving its lead conversion rate with a system like this. Suddenly, the incentive to get this right is massive.
So you bridge the gaps, you make the system smarter. It can't just be a fire and forget kind of engine. It needs a feedback loop so it can actually learn from its wins and its losses, getting better over time.
And this next part is absolutely critical. We have to add a sanitization layer to automatically scrub out any personally identifiable information. This isn't just about building a powerful tool, it's about building a responsible and trustworthy business asset.
So after all that complex work in the background, all the engineering and data processing, what does the person on the front lines actually experience? Well, something incredibly simple and incredibly powerful.
The whole point is to make the technology totally invisible. The sales rep isn't messing with an AI model or a vector database. All they see is a clean dashboard with one simple instruction. Paste the customer's email right here. That's it.
And this is key. The human is still in the pilot seat. They get to guide the AI strategy by picking a negotiation style. Are we dealing with a numbers person who just wants the bottom line? Pick analytical. Is it someone who's a bit hesitant and needs some reassurance? Switch over to empathic. You have total control.
But here's the part that's truly brilliant. The user doesn't just get a perfectly drafted email spit back at them. The system also explains why it chose those specific words, referencing the proven sales tactics from its knowledge base. So it's not just an assistant, it's a coach, actively making your team better with every single interaction.
And that's really the genius of this approach. You don't have to go into that dealership and tell them to rip and replace all their old software. Instead, you give them a super assistant that works right alongside what they already have. It's totally non-disruptive, and it starts delivering a return on investment from the very first email it helps write.
So let's end with this. This technology, it's here, and it's getting more accessible by the day. So when the person sitting across the negotiating table from you is augmented with a perfect memory and a combined wisdom of 1,000 experts, how are you going to compete? What's your next move?